Let's go ahead and talk about that Texas team because we kind of alluded to this earlier, though, in the Any Given Saturday top 25. How about that Texas Longhorn squad? Texas was a team that, yes, was rolling on a six-game winning streak ever since losing that heartbreaker to Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. But at the same time, just seemed like a team that maybe possibly is running a little bit low on gas and looked like a team that isn't familiar with being in a spot to go to college football playoff. We haven't seen Texas in a position to go to college football playoff since that four-team format has officially been implemented back in the early 2010s. We've seen them win close against Kansas State, TCU, Iowa State gave them a scare as well. But now we see them rolling. Seems like they started to find their footing. And Texas Tech, by all means, is not a bad team at all. Texas Tech is actually a solid team. A team that disappointed, I would say, this year. If you're looking at disappointments within the Big 12, there was talk before the season where, okay, Texas Tech, they have all of this returning talent. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12. This is a team that could really make some noise in terms of making it to the Big 12 championship possibly and winning the whole thing, kind of that dark horse kind of deal. We were wrong. That did not happen at all. Texas Tech barely made it to the bowl game. They're going to finish the year 500 and to limp into bowl season, losing by 50. It's a tough look. It is a really tough look for sure. This game was so bad. This game was so bad that we actually got a college debut on our hands. We saw one of the Texas quarterbacks go to work earlier this year. Well, we know about Quinn Ewers. And in the absence of Quinn Ewers, Malik Murphy took over. And Malik Murphy did more than fine. He was, he did enough to make sure that they're going to go and continue to, win games. He wasn't the reason why they lost, but he wasn't the reason why they won either. At least that was my general assessment of Malik Murphy. So they have this 50-point lead. And here's the scenario. You're in the last game of the season, and Arch Manning is a true freshman. Now, the reason why I mentioned that specific point was because current college football rules stipulate that you can play a person up to 4 games, and then after the 4th game, so game 5 and beyond, that's when that red shirt ends up getting burned. Arch Manning was a true freshman. He has not played yet in the entire season. He's been redshirted this whole time. So they have the season finale game. They have the Big 12 championship. And you possibly have a scenario where you have the college football playoff semifinal and possibly a national championship. So there's your 4 games right there. Now that it's going to be safe for Arch Manning to not lose his red shirt, with Texas able to build this lead, and trust me, they absolutely build a lead. They poured it on early and often, especially in that third quarter. The third quarter was the best quarter that the Texas Longhorns had in that entire ball game. I just burped again. That's sexy. They wanted to take a look at Arch Manning, and Arch Manning looked a little bit more comfortable than what he did in spring ball, which is what you really want to see. You really want to see him progress from that aspect. Arch Manning was fine. He wasn't great by any means. 2 for 5, 30 yards. We'll see what happens with that Texas quarterback battle after this season. Malik Murphy is certainly no pushover either. He was named a backup quarterback behind Quinn Ewers and played in meaningful action for a reason earlier this year. But they got to look at the true freshman quarterback, the son of Cooper Manning and Arch Manning. But what happened? How did this turn into a blowout? Well, it just seems like no matter how it started, when it started, it was a tough time for the for that Texas Tech squad, man. First and foremost, Texas Tech was outgained 528 to 198. So Texas Tech could not even muster up 200 yards on the ground. It was hard to watch as a Texas Tech fan for sure. And that was like in there and those points, most of those yards, at least like a quarter of those yards came on a touchdown drive. And that was off of a great field kick return by Dre McCray. So that was how Texas Tech got those only points in the game back in the first quarter. They were able to go out and get good field possession off special teams. So mainly special teams leading to that touchdown against Texas, the only score that they had. Brayman Morton was a guy that was balling out, though. Brayman Morton was someone that came in not necessarily putting up the flashiest stats by any means, but he was a winner by any means. He was 5-0 going into this game. Tyler Shaw was benched. He's been benched for quite a while, since September, when Texas Tech went on that 1-3 start, to say the least. But not today, though. He came back to earth, and Brayman Morton just was never given a chance. Texas was harassing this guy the entire time. He completes barely half his passes. He got 88 yards out of those passes. He completed 20 of them, by the way, and he threw 3 interceptions too. Meanwhile, Quinn Ewers, he was chilling for the most part. Quinn Ewers didn't even have to do much in this game. He was 17 for 26, 196 yards, touchdown, interception. Certainly isn't going to get any Heisman attention by any means, but he did what he was supposed to do and just was a game manager in the game, which there's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone can be this superstar. Oh my God, I can be a superhero and put the team on my back. Not every quarterback's like that. And not every quarterback. Now, Quinn Ewers, granted, showed that he can occasionally be that superhero, but he hasn't shown it consistently, I would say, over the course of his season. He's a little bit more of a game manager than that superhero archetype, which is not a bad thing at all. Just saying that Quinn Ewers not always considered in that upper echelon of college football quarterbacks. So we're talking about who's the best quarterback in college football. Like, he's not a Michael Penix or Bo Nix type, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But it was turnovers as well that really did Texas Tech in. The turnover difference in this one was Texas Tech had 3 turnovers in the game. Quinn Ewers, he only had the 1. Texas also double up Texas Tech on first down. The Longhorns had 27. The Red Raiders, they had 14 first downs. So they were not moving the ball very often at all. Even when Texas Tech got Texas to 4th downs, the Longhorns, they were trying their best to do so. I mean, Texas Tech, they were converted 6 of 8 4th down attempts last year. That was how they ended up beating the Longhorns in Lubbock. They didn't get that. They only had 1 4th down attempt. That was in the first half, and it didn't lead to anything. They failed the 4th down conversion. So, big takeaway in here. What is the big takeaway after a 50-point win, right? We'll talk about the winners first. For Texas, not only do they get to celebrate a big win against a fellow Texas school, they got to see what Arch Manning is about. He's nephew of quarterback royalty of Peyton and Eli. He so got a chance to see what he's all about. And for Texas, they got the Big 12 championship coming up. And again, Texas does need some help to get into the college football playoff, but it's not a lot of help at all. And here's how I look at it from Texas's position. They just need one of the favorites to lose, one of the 3 favorites. I do believe that the Pac-12, no matter what, is going to have a team in the college football playoff. I think that is going to be a given. However, if one of 3 things happen, Georgia loses to Alabama, because Texas does have that win over Alabama, SEC is not guaranteed to have a team in the playoff this year. Let that sink in for a second. So if Alabama beats Georgia, that's one possibility. If either Florida State or Michigan lose in their respective title games, Texas should be able to hypothetically move up, and that would be enough to get them into the 14 playoff this year. Those are all possibilities as well. So Texas while they don't completely control their own destiny, they also don't need a significant amount of help either in order to get in. Again, though, they would have to handle their business against who they got, and that's Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is not a bad team at all. Texas Tech, on the other hand, the Texas Tech Longhorns, or not the Tech Longhorns. Oh, I'm going to get killed in the comments for that one. The Red Raiders. This is tough. This is a tough way to end your regular season. Last time that you're going to play your rivals, and who knows how long. This is a really tough pill to swallow for this Texas Tech football team. They're going to end the year at 6-6. They did, and they had to win 3 of their last 4 games just to be in this spot to be bowl eligible. Crazy look. But Texas Tech, they're going to be in a bowl game because even 5-win teams got in. Minnesota is excited about that. Right now, Texas Tech is projected to go to Independence Bowl against Cal. That's on December 16th. That's in Shreveport, Louisiana. That could be a very interesting early bowl game as well. So Texas Tech could finish the year strong, but honestly, initially, if it's Texas Tech versus Cal, I think Cal might be favored in that game. Cal is an underrated team, and